This is the show dedicated to raising up the next generation of men of faith and character. My name is Mark Stanifer. Welcome to the Next Man Up. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the show and to another episode. So glad to have you guys along and to be participating in this journey of growing in and becoming healthy and godly men. You've heard me say it before. You're going to hear me say it again. When we do that, ourselves and for our boys, bringing them up to be healthy and godly men, everyone benefits. My name is Mark Stanifer. Good to be with you. And today I'm flying solo once again. And today we're going to address a topic that we don't talk very much about. In fact, it's a topic that's hard to discuss, and so it's often just avoided. And that is, in fact, the topic itself: how to have a hard conversation. Now, I've seen lots of different ways to approach a difficult conversation. We can just completely avoid it or stress over it until we're almost physically sick. We often ignore them because it feels easier. Or sometimes we just bowl right over people with our opinions or thoughts or our position as if we're right and the other side is wrong. I submit to you that by not handling hard conversations well, or not handling them at all, it's one significant reason why so many things go unresolved. Now, let me be clear. When I talk about a hard conversation, here's what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about having arguments or disagreements. I'm not saying that we need to embrace arguments or disagreements. Rather, what I'm saying is that it's the hard things that we don't want to talk about. For example, as a father, it's addressing uncomfortable topics like maybe sex or emotions or relationship conflict. It could be initiating apologies and asking for forgiveness. Sometimes it's delivering negative feedback. Other times it's just expressing how you feel and what's going on inside of you in the moment, putting words to what you're feeling inside. Or sometimes it's pushing back on wrong or evil. It's standing up for what is right. When I talk about, or when I say having a hard conversation, these are the things that I'm talking about. So it's also worth noting that our default response to these hard conversations, whether we avoid or whether we're the bull in the china shop, has a lot to do with our personality wiring. But that can't be an excuse to either ignore and avoid or to ramrod somebody with our opinions or our position. To be masculine is to be courageous and to be strong, which is bigger than just simply physical strength or the courage to do some extreme sport. That's often how masculinity gets presented or expressed, but it's bigger than that. And I submit to you, it extends to things like having hard, difficult conversations as well. A few years ago, one of my sons was going through some conflict. There was a relationship in his life that was a difficult one for him to navigate, and it was creating this conflict and this tension. And I kept telling him, this is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to lead yourself well, to demonstrate what it's like and how to navigate through this conflict and have hard conversations. We walked through the various options. How can you respond? Including doing nothing, including bad responses. We put all the options on the table and talked about what good self-leadership and others' leadership looks like. We talked about how he's matured so much, and at this point, he's ready and able to engage in these difficult conversations. And I affirmed for him that what he was doing, most adults won't even do. I told him stories about people my age and older that refused to engage in the type of conversations that he was willing to and was engaging in. Now, you might be saying, hey, Mark, your boys are older and I'm not even there yet. My kids are young. Well, here's what I would say. You can start young and begin to prepare them for this skill of navigating through difficult conversations. A friend of mine likes to talk about his boy when he was in middle school who was having difficulty with a teacher, and he talked with his dad about the challenges, and on his own, he owned his responsibility. He went to the teacher and he made things right. And I tell you what, the teacher was floored by the response from this young boy. And of course, Dad was proud. It also brings to mind, as a boy, an experience I had. Who knows why I thought this was a good idea at the time, but one evening in the winter, we decided to throw stone or rock-laced snowballs at a neighbor's metal shed. I know, brilliant idea. I still marvel at how we didn't think we would get caught, but snowballs, metal shed right next door, kind of obvious, right? And I still remember going to this grumpy old man, and he was upset at us. He was frustrated. He was grumpy by nature anyway. But my dad made me march over there and apologize. Talk about a hard conversation. I was young. I still remember that. My dad did not run interference for me. He simply said, go make this right. And so I did. The specific outcomes or the plan that you work through with your boys in their difficult conversations are going to be age-based. They're going to be contextual to what's going on. But here are a few suggestions to help you yourself, but also help you to guide your sons through these difficult conversations. First of all, talk about the options to handle the situation. Like I did with my boy, put all the options on the table and then help him get to a good one. Help him get to a wise one that a strong and healthy and godly man would make. Second, walk him through what that hard conversation is going to look like, what to say, the points to cover, the ways to say it. Things like, I feel or I think rather than you are. Words to avoid like always or never. Those become trigger words. Help him with the words, the phrases, the things that he wants to be able to say in that conversation. It's also important to help him with how to say it, the tone, the attitude, humility, the ability to listen and receive what comes back. It's not always what you say, it's also how you say it. And help him to prepare for what to expect, the things that he can control in that conversation, what he can't control, how to respond to challenges and pushback, or what to expect in return once this topic is addressed. Walk him through what that conversation looks like. Third, practice it together. Play different parts. Play the role of the party that he's going to have this conversation with, and then maybe role play the other way so he can see it demonstrated in a healthy and constructive way. And then finally, affirm him, build him up, encourage him that this is the right thing to do, regardless of how it plays out, and then let him go do it. In a small but significant way, you're helping him in this situation to become a man. Teach him now when the stakes are smaller and in the safety and security of your home so that he's prepared for when the stakes are larger and when he's out on his own. Okay, having the hard conversations. It's difficult to do as men, as adults. It's difficult for our boys to do, but there's a role that we can play in helping them learn how to do it and do it well. So here's your challenge. Find ways to engage in hard conversations, not just avoid or not just overrun the conversation with your ideas and opinions and your position, but engage in a dialogue around these difficult topics. Don't just shrink back from them, and find ways to teach your boy how to do it as well. All right, there's my thoughts on having hard conversations. As always, would appreciate your feedback. You can hit us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's our email address. And for those of you that want to go a little bit deeper into this community, this Next Man Up community, and participate with other dads, I would just invite you to be part of our Next Man Up Dads group on Facebook. You can find us at NMU Dads on Facebook. It's a private group, and it's intended to foster a community of men who are trying to live out this idea of healthy and godly manhood for themselves and raise their boys into it as well. If you're interested, find us at NMU Dads on Facebook and join the community there. All right, guys, good to be with you. Thank you for journeying with me on yet another episode, and we'll be back next week, as always. And until then, adios. Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.